On page 45. Lots of pages on this subject. I've got 4 pages on epidurals. I'm just going to walk you through, and then we're going to take some notes together on the last page. So starting on page 45, pain management options. Left-hand side, analgesics. The medications that are used in labor, different than getting an epidural. Pain medications, labor narcotics, are fast-acting, short-lasting. When moms get a labor narcotic, it does go to the baby. It does cross the placental barrier. Now, is this a bad mommy decision? No. How does it affect the baby? The baby goes to sleep. What we see is the heart rate changes into a very quiet, fast heart rate. Their heart rates are 120 to 160 beats per minute. So that's what we see is babies are taking a nap when they get the labor narcotics. Lasts about an hour in your system. How does it affect the moms? Moms are typically feeling better, like that. They can release and let go more efficiently in between contractions. And people, be sure you hear me, it takes the edge off the peak of the contraction. Doesn't take the pain away. It makes it more copable. So labor narcotics increase her coping and increase her ability to release and let go in between them. You're in the bed when you get these because I got to tell you the truth, you're a little high. I mean, that's what a labor narcotic is, right? Baby's napping and you're a little high. So we don't want you up, walk, rock. It doesn't really slow labor down, doesn't really affect what the cervix or the contractions are doing. It just gives you a little break, so to speak. Great question. So Mike wants to know, would it be helpful or important to continue with the vocalization, continue with the moaning or the hees and the haws when she gets pain medication? No. Still feels the peak, but not as much. Don't need to respond to them like we did before. That's a very good clarification. Labor narcotics. Now, some people think that if you get a labor narcotic through the IV in your arm, you can't get an epidural. That's not true. Some people will start off with a labor narcotic, last for about an hour, and then go on to get an epidural. Some people might not ever get a labor narcotic and go straight to the epidural. Lots of variations on this theme. That's why you are in constant communication with your nurses so they can help you write this script. What you need for where you are in labor at that time. They're always going to check you before they give you any kind of narcotic or any kind of epidural. Okay? So that's labor narcotics. Epidurals, anesthetics, top of the page, page 45. It essentially does not cross the placental barrier. Next page, 46. Really nice shot in that graphic of the needle. Very good graphic to illustrate. This is the insertion site. This is where they use a long needle to thread a very thin, flexible catheter. Some people think it's a hose that goes in your back. It's nothing like this. It's actually thinner than angel hair pasta. The anesthesiologist or nurse anesthetist will be threading something like this through that long needle. Look at the graphic we've shown you right there where the epidural space is. It's not going anywhere near the spinal cord. The spinal cord exists much higher in the body, in the spinal column. This goes into the epidural space. That space is closest to the outside of the body. All right? Very thin, very flexible. This is going to go in about 2 inches. All the rest of this tubing is going to go up her back, taped up her back, and come off her shoulder. Come right off her shoulder. Off her shoulder, the rest of this tubing is going to get hooked into a continuous infusion pump. So she'll never have a lapse in pain relief. Continuously infused, filling it as necessary. Yeah, let me go through this because I'm probably going to answer a bunch of your questions. Make a little note and catch me if I don't. Page 47, bottom of the page. Lots of varying statements about epidurals out there in the world. The bottom of this page on page 47 is talking about doctors and nurses in labor and delivery, midwives. We would like you to work with your body to work through labor and deliver the baby on your own steam best you can. We know for a fact that some people who were so tense, so tight, such the state of the alarm clock waiting to spring, if they get an epidural, they simply can't let go, release. They get an epidural, their body becomes a limp noodle. They go to sleep for an hour. We check them an hour or so later. Guess whose cervix has opened up like a summer rose? It's a beautiful thing. Now, I'm not peddling epidurals. It's a big intervention. You choose it specifically and wisely because you need it. I am saying they do have a place. They can be very helpful. Carefully chosen. Next page. More side effects, one of them being the blood pressure goes down. They're going to put a continuous blood pressure cuff on you. This is going to go on your upper arm and stay there because we want to make sure the blood pressure is not going down. They're going to fill your body full of IV fluids. Fill the body with fluids to prevent the blood pressure from going down. They're going to use a Foley catheter. This is tubing that goes up into the bladder to drain the bladder, to make sure the bladder stays empty. Think about it. When you get an epidural from the waist down, you can't really feel anything. You can't empty your bladder. We're now on page 49. Top of 49, epidural summary. We've given you space here to take a few notes on page 49. What's it like to have an epidural? Well, you're not going to like it when I tell you. Temporarily, we underlined that word, paraplegic. From the waist down, you really can't feel much. You're not getting out of the bed. Your legs won't support you. You want to lift your leg up. You want to turn over in bed. You will need assistance to do that. That's the goal of a well-working epidural. From the waist down, you don't feel much. Where is it placed? We took a look at that. In between two of the lower lumbar vertebrae. We already looked at that graphic. When to get it? Someplace during active labor, between 3 and 7 centimeters. That's when to get an epidural. If you start waiting till 8, 9 centimeters, it's not impossible, but the window of opportunity is getting narrow. And that's because you're almost to pushing. And pushing is, for most moms, much more doable than coping with labor pain. Here's why. In labor, it's oh, he, oh, versus pushing. That's pedal to the metal. Labor, you have to exist through the contraction. Pushing is a very physical, dynamic response to it. Point being, you get yourself later into transition, 8, 9 centimeters, they're probably going to hold you off to get to pushing. Which is why you're communicating with your nurses about what your goals are for this birth. Yes, partners? Be very clear about that. Why choose it? Well, one of our tables over here this morning mentioned it. Capital P-A-I-N. Pain can change your personality. Particularly pain that goes on and progress is not happening. That's very discouraging. So moms, I'm encouraging up, walk, rock. I'm encouraging you give your body a fair shake at doing what it was built to do. And I will say there are times during your birth when it may be appropriate to choose an epidural for progress to occur. Recommendation, give your body a fair shake at what it was built to do, knowing that the brain, the muscle we're most concerned about, is going to be very supported. Nurses, doctors, midwives guiding the process, partners loving and reassuring. And what your friend is talking about, because you just recapped it quite well, is the early epidural is known to slow labor down. Epidurals can slow labor down. And that's the 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters. So I would say, I call it active to just sort of embrace a phase. 3 or 4 or 5. 4, 5 centimeters is the most popular time to get epidurals. Because at that point, we know how well she's progressing. It's, in this room at least, a first baby. If things are not moving forward and she's giving it her best shot, it may be time to get the epidural so she can have a break and sleep and let the body really start to contract. On the following pages, turn with me now. Labor management. Let's stop here. Take a look at that page. Really nice look at what the contraction monitor next to your bed is doing. The top line is charting the baby's heart rate. The bottom line are the contractions. You'll become very familiar with this. With medication, you will be monitored continuously. With an epidural, you'll be monitored continuously. Up to that time, it's intermittently once an hour.